Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back. It's the Rabbit Hole Show, and it's Charles or Chad alongside KC here.
Hello, it's Casey here.
Thank you for being here, Casey.
You're welcome, absolutely.
I'm grateful for you today.
I'm grateful for you, Chad and Charles.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, y'all, thanks for tuning in to episode 9. Last episode, we listened to the song Cages by We the Kingdom and just taking off our mask and what it's kind of looked like for me over the years in my life and peeling off those masks and becoming who the Lord, my God, who has wanted me and I believe destined me to be, and also what my earthly father has taught me, and kind of straying away and finding my way and coming back to my father, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So since we've last talked, we've gotten a little bit of snow and some ice here in Charlotte. Also, Casey and I went to an event on Saturday, and he's going to share a little bit about that here in a second. Also, the Cowboys got robbed of a last chance kind of to win the game, I believe, right? Or tie it. No, actually win it. And we're still working on recording and getting a date set for our first guest episode with Haynes. And since we've also talked to a few other potential guests and gotten a few more emails, which is exciting, and keep those coming in. Again, praises, prayer requests, content you want us to put on the show or share with us, just anything. That email line of communication is open. And again, that email is the Rabbit Hole Show 21@gmail.com. So just hit us there with whatever you got. So Casey, what happened Saturday?
Well, first, so it was an event affiliated with the barn, which we talked about last Tuesday, which you told me about. We talked about it before, but it's a group of guys, just a men's group, a good Christian men's group, a group of people, it seems like, just to find a reason to get together and fellowship and talk about the things that they're going through, personally, and, their faith, and just building each other up. So this was an event. It was it Christmas tree blowout or blow up or whatever, Christmas tree bonfire?
Yeah, it was a Christmas tree blowout or bonfire. And how many Christmas trees did we have again?
I think it was 238.
I believe, yeah, I think that was. And so
anyway,
yeah, tell us about it.
So we drove up. It was up in Rutherford County, North Carolina.
Rutherford, as they say it, if you're from that area, but everyone else says Rutherford. That's what I learned up there.
I'm from Ohio, so I don't know.
You're just a guy from Ohio.
I'm a Yankee.
Welcome.
No problem.
All right, so what did we do?
Anyway,
tell us.
So we went up there, and it was just a good event. It was just a group of guys hanging out. I think there's a bunch of other kind of similar, like, ministries or men's groups that are similar to the barn.
States,
yeah, people drove.
Were there? Ohio, can't remember where else, but
I'm from Ohio.
You are, but someone drove from Ohio to be there. Georgia, I talked with a few guys from Georgia. Charlotte, some were from the Raleigh area and past. So yeah. But what'd we do?
It was in the woods, kind of. It was a cool kind of like campsite, like abandoned, I guess, forge is what it used to be. And basically we just had a big fire and amazing barbecue and just hung out with a bunch of cool guys and just talked about what was going on. And then we ended up blowing up those 238 Christmas trees with some tannerite.
Yeah, some tannerite.
And then we also learned a great craft. It was the Swedish torch.
Yes, and what is that Swedish torch? Well, it's a good handy little tool for
apparently
campfire.
You need to want to use like a good white pine, and you use a chainsaw, and you basically do a crisscross. I'm just summarizing it.
Kind of like 6 points.
Yeah, 6 point. Or a star formation, whatever, and you chainsaw down. You've probably seen.
And you go straight down.
Straight down. You've seen these at Lowe's, but basically, it creates a nice little fire torch.
3 inches or 4 inches from the bottom, and it lasted 3-4 hours.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was a great night of hanging out with people pre-ice storm, and good food, good people, learn a craft or two, and just
good conversation. Yeah, and met a lot of cool guys.
So I'm excited to go this next Tuesday. So we'll probably go in there more often, right?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna go there more often. I'm glad you came and enjoyed it. It made it easier for me to go and open up having you there, and makes me want to go to the barn more since I've brought someone and gotten them plugged in, and I'm already close with you, so it makes that gap a little easier with building relationships. But I found out while we were there that it used to be a cabin, actually.
Oh, it was a cabin.
And the creeks that were on, I guess if you're coming down to the right, flooded the cabin. And I'm not sure if it was that same event or later on, but it got struck by lightning. And so that what we were underneath was, or called the forge now, was the part of the old home or the cabin per se.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I just learned that there.
Well, regardless of it looking like a cabin or being a cabin, it looked very forge-esque.
Yeah, and that's the name of the ministry we were, I guess, on their property.
Yeah, it's like another big group for they put on events for other men's groups in the area to go and hang out and be a part of.
So it was a fun time, good conversation, and we went to get barbecue at Bridges Barbecue. If you're local, you probably have heard of that. They were closed for some reason, so we went to Shelby Cafe. So I just want to give them a shout out.
You had the garbage platter.
I had the garbage platter. It holds to its name, we'll put it that way.
And I had a chicken salad sandwich. I wanted to eat light because I knew we were going to be in the woods, and I didn't want to mess my stomach up too much, and it worked out perfectly.
And I did the opposite. So there you go. Two guys, similar interests, different styles.
All right.
Alrighty. So let me read this for y'all, and it's going to be our topic for episode 9: a circular relationship in which one person needs the other person, who in turn needs to be needed. In a sense, you can't function on your own without that person. Does that sound like you or familiar? Just think about that and let me read it one more time. A circular relationship in which one person needs the other person, who in turn needs to be needed. And that is the definition of codependent, something I said I never was. And until March of last year, started to be like, maybe I have been and am codependent. And even in a relationship not too long ago, I was codependent. I wouldn't have said that at the time, but yeah, I was codependent. I was changing the way I functioned for that person to fit into their life when people that I've been codependent to and was not myself, not true to myself. So this is from Mental Health America, and then also another site I got some source from is Advantage Mental Health Center. So if you'd like me to share those articles, I'd be more than happy to. Just let me know, or we can post them on the Instagram.
Probably do both.
Yeah, we can do both. So, all right. Codependents have low self-esteem and look for anything outside of themselves to make them feel better. And that was me. Looking back now, that was me. I was very low self-esteem, needed that person to build myself up and have confidence, but I was always looking to them and trying to please them, and I couldn't function or stand on my own 2 feet per se. And when you can't stand on your own 2 feet, what are you going to do?
Yeah, you were living your life looking for validation from them, and basically making that your life's purpose is just the vicious cycle, the circle of you just looking for approval.
Yeah, always looking for approval, and when I felt like I wasn't getting it, it hurt me. And
this just it isn't like, oh, being a crappy person, like I need to be like, hey, am I doing a good job or whatever, like, or basic encouragement, but just like the needy, like I need to be validated by you in your existence and in your life.
Yeah, and when the relationship felt good, I was on a high. Basically, life was good. And then when it was rocky, that's when things for me started getting tough. Like gambling, heavy drinking.
Just things that would lower your self-esteem and push you down further.
Yeah, but it would give me that high that I was looking for at the time and needed.
When you weren't getting it from that relationship?
And I wouldn't necessarily, when I was in the relationship, that was more my frustration, which would lead and turn into anger and resentment. But post those relationships is when that vicious would become and turn into the addiction that I had, because I could hold it together when I was in a relationship, but it was post-relationship when it would get rough.
Unravel.
Yep. And
They were holding your life up. The relationship was holding your life together in a sense.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. It was holding my life together. And until last year, when I was at the ranch and then also at Honey Lake. But also, I mean, the big thing was when I woke up off life support and I looked at that clock and saw that light, I knew something wasn't right based off my last memories. And then my dad to my left, and I hear what he told me what happened, and I start looking around, and all I can do is just stare at that clock and like, what the hell did I do? Like, this was never going to happen. And it was because relationships, being codependent, and it wasn't just always girlfriends. It was with good friends, family, just people that,
like any sort of rejection kind of, or any sort of like,
yeah. And towards the end, when I was at my lowest, that's when it, fell apart and was dark. So let me read this. Codependency disorder is defined by an excessive emotional attachment to a partner or individual, making it so that the affected individual develops an unhealthy bond within the relationship. And I mean, that was me to a T, and I denied it. It was like, dang, I mean, those people that have codependency, how can they have that? And I was blinded because I didn't think that could be me. So some characteristics of codependent people are, and the ones that I'm reading off are ones that I can relate to. So an exaggerated sense of responsibility for the actions of others, tendency to become hurt when others didn't recognize my efforts, and that was at work, in relationships, with family members. It was just my whole circle,
You took everything personally if it wasn't like recognized or reciprocated or anything like that.
Yeah, and not just one thing, but after a while, when I wasn't getting recognized at all and put down, it was like, wow, I guess everything I am saying about myself is true. Like, again, all that negative self-talk, you start to believe it, and then you read into what other people are doing and taking out, they're seeing what I'm,
And other people, like the majority of the time, they just don't understand, like, oh, you need that recognition or whatever. Like, it's just uncommunicated.
And that's another thing.
People don't read minds. Like, you don't know what people are going through or what they need unless you're vocalizing it in a way. Or
in some, again, poor communication is a characteristic of a person that is codependent. And I had that. I would always get frustrated, and it would turn into anger, and then it would lead into, I would become angry and violent, and that's not who I was, but I just did not know how to channel my emotions in a positive way, or even talk about them. Like, my line of communication because criticism was hard. I thought it was because they didn't like me. And yeah, also I had difficulty making decisions, and I was extremely loyal, but I wasn't in a healthy relationship, not per that person, but just because I was so dependent on them. And my masked pain through other emotions, as I said, anger, humor, isolation. I would make fun of myself. And then over time, I would just become resentful when others decline their help or reject their advice, just because I thought it was because I didn't know what I was doing, or it was just I was so negative about myself that others couldn't pour into me because I wouldn't allow them to.
Yeah.
And it took me, again, just as low as I could go, and it was scary, and I'm just glad I'm here. So, like, do you feel rejected when significant others spend time with their friends? Because that was something big for me. I was like, well, what if they're cheating? What if they're doing this? And none of that was happening, but I believed it because I was like, why would they want to be with me? Like, and it just scared me. Like, I had to be with them.
Yeah.
And it was just that cycle. And I had trouble asking for help because my pride would get in the way, just because I didn't want them to feel like I needed them, in a sense, if that.
Yeah. Like, you're isolating you want their attention, but then you're also pushing them away, like when everything's not absolutely perfect, or when you're not.
I would also be jealous in a way because I was confused about who I was and where I was going in life, and that relationship was my life. That's all I thought about, and it was so unhealthy. And they were going places, and I was, in a sense, holding them back because I was codependent. And it was tough, and my apologies to all of them, but I didn't know I was codependent, and I didn't know I was in a dark place and just didn't know how to open up, and until I've been committed to going to therapy and really working on myself and channeling my emotions and being able to communicate. And Casey here is someone that I communicate with well and can share anything with, and I hope he feels the same. But it's me just walking with someone else. I know I have Christ inside me. He's always with me. And that's something that was hard for me to believe. And I think, why would he want to be with me when I was taking him to those places that I did?
Yeah.
Because I was in relationships. And that's not just girlfriends, that's with family members, because they've been the ones who have been with me since birth. But I was just ashamed of myself and didn't want to embarrass them. Because I remember the first time I got arrested, my mugshot was next to my dad's picture for his company. And it was on Google, and this was the first time, and I was ashamed. My father, like, I embarrassed the name, and I just ran, and it just got worse. And but my father here and up in heaven, where I believe, the light's always been on. They've always wanted me to come back home, and until I realized I can stand on my own 2 feet, and I don't need someone. All I needed and all I have is God in me. But until I realize it's just me and him, and I can do life that way. And when someone else comes in, if it's his plan, that's awesome. But I don't need anyone.
You don't need to seek your identity or your destiny in that relationship or that person, or not to say that you don't fall in love or anything like that, but you don't.
Yeah, because I would fall quick.
You don't hold everything onto that. Like, that's what you're saying. Hold on to God.
Because life's going to go on tomorrow. If that person leaves, like, you still have to continue going on with life.
It happens to people every day.
Correct. And that's why everything that happened, attempted suicides, violent acts, getting arrested, psych ward visits, ending up in the ER on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, hell, I don't know what day it was, but until I knew I could stand on my own 2 feet. And honestly, when I found out what happened to me and I saw that light, I was like, I'm home. Like, I got to do something different, like, or it ain't going to be a long ride until I'm out.
You got to break the wheel.
And break that wheel, break that cycle, and let's hop on with what needs to be done and what I've been taught and I know, and be confident in myself and love myself. Therefore, I can love others just as he's loved me.
Amen.
Amen and amen. So again, post those links that discussed codependency. Again, a circular relationship in which one person needs the other person, who in turn needs to be needed. So in a sense, can't function on your own without the other person, and that was me to a T. So thank y'all for listening to episode 9. Again, reach out with any questions, content, prayer requests, praises.
Keep sending us links, keep sending us songs, but also
please, share songs and we'll have them on. Also, I've been working on a playlist on Spotify, the Rabbit Hole Show, that we'll share one of these days. But it's the Rabbit Hole Show 21 at gmail.com. Stay tuned for episode 10, more content. We love y'all. Thank you again for tuning into episode 9. All right, it's Charles out.
Casey out.